WATCHTOWER here for the Oddsman broadcast. With me today we have...
Hey guys, I'm Sebastian, also known as Doombox on the Reddit.
Hey guys, this is Daniel, also known as DPO427 on Reddit.
And as you know, we are the Oddsman. We're going to go ahead and lead off with Here Comes a New Challenger. Doom, take it away.
Alrighty, so first things first, let's talk about Red Robin. Just kidding, let's not talk about Red Robin. Let's talk about the real MVP here, Clayface.
But let's talk about Red Robin.
I'll get back to Red Robin.
Okay, fine.
So, Clayface, Jesus, this character. Okay, so first off, want to go ahead and mention there are two insights out. Both of them are fantastic. There's mine, of course, and then there's another person. I should have looked up his name before we got in here.
311.
That's the one. He's been actually posting a lot of other insights, which I really appreciate people carrying that on in my absence. But this guy, big buff daddy, this man is just throwing buffs everywhere. He enables everyone. It's nice to use him as long as you don't want damage or healing or anything that's not giving out buffs. And, I mean, let's see, he makes Firestorm insane because of turn 1 maximum power things. He makes Doomsday insane because you could basically go 16 buff Doomquake straight into Devastator. He makes Robin insane. He makes Nightwing insane. He makes everyone insane. This guy's absolutely crazy. But again, no damage, no healing really. He just kind of doesn't die sometimes. But, you know, that's just my insight on him. What do you guys think about Clayface?
Yeah, he definitely fills that tank role real well. He will take a beating. Usually will keep coming back for more even. He has some interesting tools in his kit with being able to steal buffs or steal immunities or something like that. Like, he's got some real interesting tools at his disposal. And I especially love the speed down that he spreads around too. So he enables characters like Mirror Master and Captain Cold real well. So
yeah, for me, like the thing I like about Clayface is the amount of compositions that he enables, not just like the buff strategies, but the sort of out of the box type of strategies that people don't really consider, like speed down based strategies that were popular with Mirror Master back in the day. They sort of fell out of favor and kind of made a comeback now, right? Now invisibility is becoming a big thing too with all the Bat family that was released last month too, and even before that with the reworks and so on. So we'll get to those characters too, but I think invisibility as a strategy is also really good, especially with the new targeting system change they made a couple months ago. So the fact that you can't get counter-hitted if you're invisible, and you can't get hit by random attacks if you're invisible, is really, really good for that type of strategy right now. So he enables a lot of very interesting team compositions, in my opinion.
I do want to point out that the invisibility and getting counterattacked might be bugged currently.
I think it's only bugged with Power Girl. Is that what you're thinking of?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. I've noticed that Power Girl, she counterattacks basically all the time. Like, well, I mean, whenever she has an opportunity to counterattack, she will, regardless of if you're invisible or not. I think she's bugged. But all the other characters, they apply like normally. Like, I haven't counterattacked an invisible character with Harley Quinn, Clayface, or Captain Cold for a long time. So I think
right. So generally, though, pretty handy. And also, there's also that benefit that a lot of characters have the issue that they're like, wow, this character's fantastic, provided they can actually get one turn. And Clayface definitely provides those characters with that one turn they need, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But, of course, all good things must come to an end. So let's talk about Red Robin. So, I mean, he's a supporty character. You know, he gives tons of turn meter. He gives True Sight, which kind of messes up Clayface. And, you know, he actually does have a pretty decent kit. He has a lot of different tools kind of mixed into one character. I'm not personally very fond of Swiss Army Knife, but I can definitely see his purpose in a lot of things. Plus, you know, he's got those purges that are very common with the Bat family and work really well between them. Just all in all, he's a pretty solid character. He actually works incredibly well with the reworked characters and with Clayface. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I have to agree. I think he falls into that Bat family category. They all just synergize really, really well together. Nightwing in particular as a leader with Red Robin and his passive just start getting numerous bonus attacks. So, and if he has his upgraded basic, he can purge buffs off and different things. But I really personally like being able to give somebody a turn, essentially, with True Sight. I really like that move.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of being able to put a unique buff on anyone you want. There's like a couple of characters that were able to do that with other buffs, like evasion. I think it was Black Canary that could put evasion on people, and so on and so forth. So that type of targeting, buffing ability is really unique to me, and I like that as a character. How useful it is, it still remains to be seen. From the videos that I saw of people using Red Robin, it looked like it was really useful because you could put it on your heavy hitter, go out and take out someone that you need to take out because Harley Quinn's taunting. So that looked pretty useful.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking slapping it on Grundy, the big old slow zombie. Then he could just kick whoever he wants in the face.
Yep.
That works.
Yeah. But some people on Reddit were also saying that in terms of his ability and his kit, he looks like the red version of Princess of Themyscira. The fact that he's like doling out free attacks and buff purging, like he's a buff purging machine. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't know. He reminds me more of Batgirl than Princess of Themyscira, but that's just me.
They do have very similar named kits too. Like a lot of their abilities look the same in terms of naming. So,
Ogre, thoughts?
Yeah, he kind of reminds me more of World's Greatest Detective, actually.
Interesting.
Where he kind of just supports the team, purges off buffs, does his thing. Like you bring him along for what he brings, not for his damage per se. Even though I've heard Red Robin does pretty good damage.
Yeah.
Well, if ever an accurate description of this character, it's 3 people saying that he reminds them more of 3 individual characters who do the jobs better. Moving on.
Well, I do want to say one thing, because one thing that is unique, or that is very similar with these type of Swiss Army type characters, is that their damage isn't that great, right? It's true with Red Hood and so on and so forth. But if you look at some of the videos that people put out for Red Robin, he's actually decent. Like I think it's his third ability, that the one where he's like doing like cartwheels in the air and then he hits the character. He one-shotted a siren in I think Hate Mail's videos. It almost killed another Mystic in another. I think it was Alexi's video, the mod from the community center. But he looks like he does a decent amount of damage for someone has this pseudo support kit, right? So you wouldn't think that he would do a ton of damage, but he does okay damage. Although his basic doesn't do great damage, but his one move that has a decent cooldown on it does pretty good damage, I think. So that's good. That's good to note. So yeah, let's move on.
So let's talk about. Go ahead.
Just real quick. If you have his turn meter buff upgraded, it also grants him 25% turn meter and True Sight. He can stack that on himself to get 2 True Sights and 105% turn meter.
Oh. So he can just take turn after turn, basically.
Well, I mean, he grants himself a True Sight to take a turn.
Oh, I see.
With True Sight.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, that's a thing. All right, now moving on, because I'm done talking about this boring character. Let's talk about these interesting characters instead. Catwoman. So Catwoman, in my opinion, was already a decently dominant character that was just underutilized. I mean, she steals all the buffs. She has the crazy damage, the good stun. She actually had pretty decent survivability, and now that just got cranked up to 11 because now she says, oh, I hit 0 HP. Oh, but I'm a cat, 9 lives. Ha ha ha. And then ends up just getting a heal and coming back into the fight. And, I mean, her plus Clayface, since Clayface is always taunting and she needs those taunts, works out astoundingly well. she still counters anyone that's even remotely based on buffs, which is a surprising amount of characters now. And she is able to steal tons of immunities and basically everything you'd ever want on a character that can steal anything. Like, if you have buff problems, just bring her with you, and then all those problems are solved.
I will say one thing, though. The changes to her hit and run properties, in terms of how it interacts with evasion, isn't really favoring her right now. But I don't know if we'd call it a nerf. I think it's sort of a mechanical change for the way, I think it's in terms of consistency, because now if she misses on her hit and run, she won't purge and she won't stun. So I guess it's more in line with the Princess of the Mascara or Green Lantern Hal Jordan, those type of buff purging moves. So I guess they want to make it all in that sort of same area. And if they wanted to not miss, or sort of still purge on miss, they'll make it obvious in the text of the ability. They'll say, this ability can't miss, or the whole ability can't miss, or something like that, right?
I mean, as much as I regret to say it, Red Robin kind of fixes that by giving her true sight, so.
Yeah. But the problem is you still can't use her against Harley Quinn reliably, right? Like you could before, because you would still, even if you missed, you would still stun her and keep her locked down. And then
I mean, one thing to point out though, if you're the development team and you're introducing True Sight, what's the purpose of introducing True Sight if these buff purgers can't miss?
That's true. Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense.
So, I mean, it gives them a reason to bring these guys along. And to be fair, the two characters that have it are both very interesting, I think. I like Superboy. I like Red Robin. I wish I had more shards of them to play with them a little more, because they're very interesting kits, with that True Sight. So,
as much as I love the Superman family, Superboy, I just really wish they changed his animations to make it look cooler. Because some of his animations look really dumb. Like, I don't know why his punch animation is so slow. So
his punch animation is a little painfully slow.
Yeah, but anyways, that's neither here nor there. Okay,
yeah,
right.
Yeah, but Catwoman's great overall. The change to her basic is awesome too. The fact that she just rips apart Deathstroke now. So
yeah, there's a lot of interesting changes that happened with her.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that they also beefed up her acceleration a lot, because, I mean, she was already pretty fast, but getting all that speed up, and then also you have your whole misdirection triggering when she dies, which gives her a buttload more meter and more invisibility and more evasions and more healing. And then you also have her passive, which gives her even more healing and more evasion and more speed. And she's just, honestly, in my opinion, she's a pretty crazy character. If people weren't already looking out for her, they really need to. But, that's Catwoman in a nutshell. Let's talk about Robin. Robin, this is a character that I truly and do personally dislike and think is worthless, but not so much anymore. So, before, his issue was, he was basically a one-trick pony. Throw out your silence using his speed, and then, you just kind of sit there with a very subpar, uninteresting character until the battle's over. But now, with Clayface in the mix, he's actually pretty dang good, especially considering that he himself also gained a ton of acceleration, just like Catwoman. So, to give the long and short of, what the update basically did for him, his one with Shadow now can trigger when someone else dies, on the enemy team, of course. So that gives him tons of meter, tons of invisibility, a bit of healing, and then also lets him buff himself up based on all the other invisibilities, which if you're running Clayface or Nightwing or any of that, that's basically everything. And then also, his leader ability is actually pretty decent now, because again, you include Clayface. If he happens to he can't be critically hit, but you know what I mean. If the game were perhaps not working the way it should in regards to that, then he'd be able to get tons of invisibility, because he's basically always invisible now. He's going to get tons of meter, tons of crit ups, tons of damage. And then beyond that, the fact that his bleeds are gated behind invincibility isn't an issue anymore, because turn 1 you can just throw out those 6 bleeds on someone plus the silence, which, you know, very nice if you're running a chemo comp, because then he could just turn 1 fall out, just bam, like that. And, you know, he also works well with a bunch of other bleed-based characters. Dr. Poison's an option now. You have Cheetah, obviously. She's very blood-based. Siren can now trigger her passives and all of that other stuff on people because they will already be bleeding. And he's really, 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 really good at dismantling, well, Deathstroke, because you stick 6 bleeds on him and all of a sudden all of that awareness is just gone. Plus he's silenced, so it's not like he can do his big damage either. And, you know, that other stuff where it's like, oh, his passive, now it does bonus critical damage if they're silenced, works really well with the likes of Cape Crusader Batman, who can silence, and the Dark Knight Batman, who can silence, and, you know, Clayface, who can silence, and Chemo, who can silence, so on and so forth. Basically, he's much, much better now. But his main benefits happen to also be because of the fact that Clayface exists. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I've actually been upgrading him because I've been wanting to use him on a bleed team. His rework has just kind of re-solidified that, and I've actually put some more effort into him recently. Finally got him to gear 10. I'm really looking forward to busting him out with Aquaman, actually, because turn 1, he's going to silence and 6 bleed one character. Aquaman's going to 3 bleed and stun another character. Like, that's a lot of control and a lot of bleed already on turn 1 on 2 very fast characters. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to using that.
Yeah, I mean...
Also...
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Just to chime in.
Yeah,
also, keeping in mind that Cheetah's leader ability does trigger when they apply leads. So there is a chance that Robin, who's already fast, can get even ridiculously faster.
Yep.
So, yeah, in terms of Robin, from the beginning, I was one of the people who geared him up right after I got him unlocked from his event. And basically, I was using him to counter the arrow meta, like just to silence CAGA at the beginning of the battle. But after that meta sort of like fell apart, Robin sort of also kind of fell by the wayside for me. But the fact that this rework is now bringing him back into the mix is actually, you know, pretty good for me because I invested a lot into him early. I like the biggest thing I like about his rework is that even if you don't have Clayface or another character that can give him invisibility, he has his passive now gains invisibility. He has a 50% chance to gain invisibility at the beginning of his turn. So
something like that.
Yeah,
I think it's 65.
Oh yeah, it's pretty high. But yeah, it's decent. Like the fact that like you can start off without having to buff him in the beginning of and then just shoot off his I can't remember the name of his ability, but his third ability that applies the
Ryu.
Right. So the fact that you can start off with that almost, I would say, you know, slightly over 50% of the time is pretty good. You know, that in itself is already good enough. And people on Reddit were saying that he's basically the new Huntress, but maybe he's not exactly Huntress, but he can be like Huntress in the sense that like he gains more buffs and stacks up buffs every time you kill someone. And he gets faster and faster too because he gets more turn meter, right? He gets accelerated. Whereas Huntress gains speed ups, right? So they're sort of in the same category. And where she gains evasion, he gets more invisibility and health back, right? So it's kind of
the primary difference between those two, though.
Yeah,
the primary difference is that she has to land the kill. He doesn't.
That's true, definitely. So he could if you put a team of a lot of like just super fast, super critty characters, like all the flashes and other arrows and stuff, you could just wipe out 2 or 3 characters and he'd just be super buffed by the time he takes his turn. So.
Oh yeah.
That'd be really cool.
It's also worth mentioning that heal that he has on his passive is surprisingly potent. Like, it's not anything to scoff at.
You would think he wouldn't actually have that high of a heal because he's not an int-based character, but it's actually decent. I was surprised too.
Yeah, the base level on that heal is pretty good.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, enough about the characters. Let's move on. Talk about the more community and gameplay-based stuff.
All right. So, did you have something, DP?
I don't know. Go ahead. Just go ahead.
All right. So, into the arena we shall go. And again, I'm saying the same thing I said last month. Kind of been happening, over time. It's gradual. Deathstroke and Lowbo is continuing to decline. As they introduce new characters that are, more interesting, like Clayface, for instance, is far more interesting than Baby Lowbo. He enables a lot more comps. You don't have to run Deathstroke. You don't have to run Lowbo anymore. Like, there's a lot of things that are happening with these new characters and the reworks and everything else. And as people continue to grow, the Deathstroke meta is continuing to shrink day by day. Like, eventually it will, shrink down to a normal portion of the meta. It's not going to be the huge percentages that it was. And, it's still there. But you're definitely seeing a lot more varied comps nowadays.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
What do you think, Joe?
I mean, I'm happy for it. Honestly, I never liked the concept of Baby Lowbo and Deathstroke, and the fact that they're just kind of being pushed to the wayside now. We're also getting a ton of really interesting, really cool characters and mechanics as a result. I'm perfectly fine with it. In fact, I mean, if they just wanted to, I don't know, delete them from the game, it's, whatever. Now, apples and oranges.
Leave my Lowbo alone. I actually use Daddy Lowbo, so...
Daddy Lowbo is scary, actually.
He does good damage. I don't know why people never geared him up.
He's a tank, too. So, yeah.
He can take a hit.
Why would you gear him up when you can just be lazy?
Well, I think that's part of the issue, is that people wanted to be lazy. And I think as they've gotten more and more Gear 11 characters, they realize that how cheesy it actually is. And in order for the meta to go away, they themselves also have to stop using it. I think people have finally come to that realization.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole changes to PvP have also helped, because a lot of the people who were like, oh man, I can cheese the meta and then just climb super fast. Now they're like, oh boy, I'm getting 3 points a match now instead of 9. Maybe not.
Well, I mean,
exactly.
One of the biggest culprits, I think, to the reason why Deathstroke and Deathstroke teams or Deathstroke teams are still hanging around is the alliance missions. It's kind of tough to say, but it's true, because a lot of the times when you have a new character that you don't really have geared out yet, one of the best ways to carry a dead man on your team is put him on a Deathstroke team, right? So for a couple of weeks of the month, you're going to see a lot more Deathstroke teams than the other weeks of the month, because I don't have this new character geared out yet, right? So, and I'm one of those guys who probably do that, especially with Red Robin, for example. After I get him from this week's PvP, I'll put him on my team, but he'll just die and fuel Deathstroke, something like that. So,
yeah, but at the same time, when you're doing that, you're not running Baby Lowbo along with it. That meta is gone. Running Deathstroke with a alliance character is fine, whatever. People don't mind that.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, the fact that whole archetype is slowly falling out of favor is good, but at the same time, it doesn't need to be gone either, right? We've said that before, because
no, it doesn't.
For example, like me, I battle against a lot of like the top 100 players a lot of the time, and I have very difficult battles, and sometimes I actually have to sit there and scratch my head thinking about like what team composition can beat this like super tanky debuff depurging character like composition that I can't attack it with bleeders, I can't attack it with my traditional like characters. How am I supposed to go about it? I'm like, okay, I'll just go with Deathstroke and I beat the team. You know what I mean? So
right, and that's fine.
So I think the fact that
Deathstroke should be the safety net.
Like I know that people like hate mail will probably hate us for the fact that we're saying that it's good that they're still around, but I'm sort of 50-50 on it. I feel like it should be in lesser numbers, but I don't think that it should disappear.
I mean, personally, I'm more just happy that the meta seems to be, again, continually slowing further and further down. Because even before, even if you don't count the Deathstroke thing, there were still some pretty cheesy, pretty fast teams. But now that Clayface is in the game, invisibility is a much bigger thing, all of a sudden, the meta's, I would say, slowed down to the point where you could literally run just about anyone and you'd be completely fine with it.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean...
But anyway...
Sorry, I was going to say one more.
Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the way PvP is shifting, as Doom is saying, like, things are getting a little bit slower, a little bit more progressive. Things don't end in the first couple of rounds. The question is, at what point is the meta going to shift to something that's really slow and really, really, obnoxious to go through? Because before, for example, with the Deathstroke meta, you couldn't auto battles because of Baby Lowbo, right? And now we're getting to the point where if things get really slow, you can't auto battles because you actually have to think about who you're attacking, or else the battle will take like 10 minutes or something like that, right? So,
yeah, I mean,
is that necessary?
Honestly, as a little bit of a secret that people just haven't caught on to yet, Survival Suit Lex is stupid broken right now just because of how slow the meta is. Like, everything's buff related. He packs so many heals into people, and it's almost impossible to actually get to him now because you have people like Clayface and Harley Quinn who are constantly always standing in the way. So, yeah, he's an absolute monster.
I've been a big fan of Support Suit Lex. He's really good.
Yeah, he's on my to gear list too.
Anyways, moving on. Let's talk about some new stuff.
Moving on. We've also got, the event horizon is bright. We've had some, new PvE content, sort of, again. But at the same time, we also did get an announcement that said that the devs are aware that we want more, and they are going to get it to us this year, just not in this first quarter. So new PvE content is coming. But while we wait, Clayface Challenge has been a lot of fun. Some of the new interesting, enemies in there that can apply invisibility to themselves or to a teammate randomly. It's kind of interesting. Some new minions there. And then we also had the Mirror Master Challenge, which was fairly entertaining. I personally did not enjoy the Reverse Slash Captain Cold sub-bosses. And if you've seen Chemo vs. the World, you know why.
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
Yeah, it was painful to go through. As soon as I saw them, I'm like, oh.
I know how this is going to end.
Yeah, it was not pretty. It was not pretty. And it wasn't even, it's just Captain Cold. If I had gotten one hit off on Captain Cold, I think I would have been fine.
Because Reverse
I would have been fine.
Keep up the speed downs.
No, yeah, Reverse Slash would have been no problem because eventually I would have gotten out of the stun lock that he had me in, but it was Captain Cold that was the issue.
Well, it shows that the bubblegum with boots is not invincible.
Right, exactly. He had to get taken down a peg, so. But anyway, next week we actually have the Shazam Hero Challenge coming up as well, so looking forward to that. Obviously, everybody's kind of been playing the Clayface Hero Challenge. I got myself L4 Clayface. Yeah. What about you guys?
I'm still working on L4 Clayface, but yeah, that's my goal.
I'm rocking the L3 for now. I might get to L4, but I don't know.
But yeah, I think that everything in his kit is actually reasonable. Like, taking him to L5 is perfectly reasonable. I wouldn't see any argument against it. I think I can't remember which move it is, but I think it's like his fourth ability that's not that great.
His third move.
It's his AoE?
His third move, the overheal. Oh, it's his overheal, yeah.
Yeah, the AoE, the overheal and the AoE seems kind of random. But, yeah. Yeah,
it's a little bit small, and the move's on a 4-turn cooldown anyway, so.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say it's small. I mean, it's 20%. That's decent.
Yeah.
Is it 20%?
Yeah.
It's like a hard 20%. It's written in.
That's Power Girl's overheal.
Is it? Are we confusing things?
That's 20%. I don't think his specifies a percentage.
Oh, my bad.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. No, give me a second. I will test this as we speak right now, actually.
So,
right.
As he's doing that,
But anyway,
I want to say one thing about the Clayface challenge, though. I was really enjoying it just for the banter between Red Robin and Clayface. So,
yeah, it was pretty entertaining.
The dialogue was actually pretty good. I really like Clayface as a character right now. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, Clayface is awesome. I like that they went with the trying to redeem himself side of him.
Yeah. It's pretty refreshing.
You know, and not his just like evil villain side.
I actually haven't checked this though. Is he kind of like Catwoman? Does he apply as a villain and a hero? Like in terms of like the
I am not sure.
Those challenges
I did not
matter. Yeah.
Did not look at that.
Because I think that
actually, but they're open today. I should have looked. I didn't look.
I think there are two characters that do that. I think it's Catwoman and Livewire. I think are the ones that fit that sort of description. That can sort of tread the line between good and evil.
I would have expected Red Hood more than Livewire.
I remember, I don't know if they fixed Livewire, but I remember when she first came out, you could play her in both events. So that's what I remember. But Catwoman, definitely. You can use her in both.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Red Hood is a good guy. He's not a bad guy.
You get your answer yet, Doom? Well, it's his methods that make him evil.
Yeah.
Actually, yes, I did get my answer.
So, what's the answer?
What's the verdict?
It is roughly 17%, but, I mean, you know.
20% in the ballpark. Good enough.
All
right. Anyways.
I don't know. Maybe it just looks small because he's got so much HP.
The move isn't that necessary, though, right? That ability, particularly.
No, it's not.
So, yeah.
He survives just fine without it.
Yeah. So,
but anyway, how'd you guys do with Mirror Master? I got him to L2, personally.
Skipped him.
I got him to L3, and I think mainly it's because one of our alliance mates was saying that he's sweetest at L3 and everything else is gravy after that. You know, everything else makes him, like, you can take him all the way to L5. Mm-hmm. He's awesome, but you don't need to. So that's where I actually wanted to get, build that team comp, that he plays consistently now. That's, Captain Cold, Mirror Master, Clayface, and, I can't remember. I think he uses either Poison Ivy or someone else to sort of fit the bill.
Frost.
Yeah, depending on what type of strategy you're going on. Because if it's all speed down, you can do that, and then you can add another fourth person in to take care of a troubling character on the other side, right? But those main three are who you lock in for the speed down synergy, and then you add in the fourth depending on what you need. But I actually came across a team like that on PvP, and I actually couldn't beat them without Deathstroke. Basically, like, it was Captain Cold, Mirror Master, Clayface, and I think Red Robin was the fourth, and it wrecked me. It wrecked me so hard. I think one of my 4 characters took a turn.
Wow.
Yeah. It destroyed
That's
me.
pretty sick.
I really underestimated because Red Robin gets going really fast. He's really fast as a character.
He's got one of the highest speeds.
And he starts the game invisible. He starts doing stuff and like speed down, just flying everywhere, and it's over.
Jeez.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, I'm really happy I got my Mirror Master to L3. Hopefully I can build a team like that too, because that seems really fun. I'm looking forward to Shazam too. Hopefully take Shazam to L3 as well.
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking for L2 on Shazam.
Yeah.
Doom?
No, meh. I don't think I'm going to bother with Shazam too much.
Yeah. From last month's podcast, I think you're more of a fan of Black Adam.
A little bit. It's more just that I have Chemo, who's already the best special tank there is, so why would I just get another special tank? I just use Chemo.
Hashtag on brand.
Right?
Anyways. So let's move on.
We should really find a way to work him into our artwork somewhere.
You mean Chemo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's become our mascot.
Yeah. Well, we have to get someone like a creative animator out there to make a mascot logo.
A dancing camo.
Chemo. A camo with like the
dancing camo. Please.
Dancing Camo with the Oddsman logo branded across his chest or something.
Make him wearing our t-shirt.
That'd be cool. All right, let's move on.
All right. Well, I'm out of stuff to talk about, so DP, I'm going to pass it off to you.
Oh wait, for the Event Horizon, right? We had some stuff talking about the bug fixes and stuff, but in terms of that, yeah.
Okay, my bad. I'll go ahead and talk about this real quick then, I guess.
Right.
If I have to.
Let's just go over it.
So, new combat moves for upcoming Heroes in February. Robin Shadow Meld, super broken, but not fixed. What does that mean? Does that mean about the stealth nerf that he got?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's more of like a stealth fix. I wouldn't call it a nerf.
No, yeah. I mean, it was a quick fix.
I think what it looked like.
I think the buffs were lasting too long.
Was it also counting the invisibilities that he was applying on himself at that time? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I think he's supposed to, though.
I think it's here and there. I think it counts the number of invisibilities on the team, right? So if he doesn't,
I think so. Yeah.
The way it applies right now is that the first time you buff him, if the first time you buff himself, he doesn't gain more than one. I think, right? Yeah, he gets one of each. That's it.
Okay.
Or does he? He might not even gain any at all. I can't remember exactly. Well, I'll test that out later. But before, it was way too much, like, from what it was counting. It looked like it was applying the invisibility first, and then applying the strength up and the... What is it? What's the strength up and what's the other buff?
Crit chance.
The what? Sorry?
Crit chance.
Yeah, the crit chance.
Crit chance.
The crit chance and the strength up was being applied based on the number of invisibilities he had on the time. It looks like the layering was staggered, where it should be this like together. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's what they fixed. But anyways,
okay. I thought it was the buff duration lasting 2 turns, and now it's 1.
Oh, that could be it too. Not sure. Anyways. It's fixed.
Anyway.
Yeah.
There's also been a fix to the health bars that were floating after revenge attacks and after dead revivers stayed dead.
Yeah. So that's just an aesthetic change.
And then there's another one where taunting characters that are invisible are still taunting now.
Yeah.
Imagine that. If you're invisible but you're yelling, "Hey, look at me," they can probably see you. You know, so... And then I guess one of the biggest changes that's actually happened with this recent patch is Lord of the Unliving is now shorter. What do you guys actually think of that? I like it personally.
Wait, what?
Lord of the Unliving, instead of being 10 waves on number 5, is now 5 waves.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So I'm actually happy for that.
Makes it a lot easier.
If I was a newer player, I would think this would be an amazing change. Now, if you're like me and you don't care about it and just speed force through it, then it doesn't matter. But the biggest reason for people who have older devices, like an older iPhone or an older Android, this makes this change is a big deal for those who have under 2 gigabytes of RAM in their machine. The reason being is because a lot of the times your game will crash due to lots of buffs and debuffs being like spread out on the screen, and the game is trying to process a lot of sprites and a lot of things in its internal RAM. So if your machine doesn't have enough RAM, it will crash at certain points. So usually what I found, because I'm running an iPhone 6 that only has 1 gigabyte of RAM, and if you get to around wave, let's say 6 or 7 of the previous version, there's a point where there's just like so much stuff going on the screen, and it's also preloading stuff from the next waves coming, that the game crashes very consistently. So the only way that I was able to beat that was with one character before. Like, you have to put one character in there, so you're limiting the amount of stuff that it could process at that time, and you have to solo the whole node, like how Ogre did with Chemo, for example. But Chemo might not even be a good example, because Chemo puts on a lot of buffs and debuffs all over the place. Right? So... yeah. But now...
like Arceus and some of the others.
Right, but now that it's shorter, this might not be more an issue anymore. So you might be able... maybe I'll give this a try later on. Go go at it with a full team of 4 characters to see if my device crashes or not. Still, but
you should be okay now. I think
should be okay. Theoretically, it should be okay because there's less waves. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, for those of you who have newer devices, doesn't matter. So it's just way shorter for you. And there was one other thing.
I mean, it makes farming Legendary Essence a lot faster.
Yeah. There was one other thing that I want
because you're not speed forcing it to get 100,000 Legendary Essence. Let's be honest.
Right. There's one thing that I want to pick on in terms of the PvE content for this month. The order of the Alliance characters and the Alliance missions. What was the order? First week was Clayface. Second week was Catwoman. The next week will be Red Robin, and the week after that is Robin, right? And I feel like they could have done this better just by simply switching Catwoman and Robin, because I felt like I was looking at a lot of other alliances saying that, the points were not so great this week because some people didn't have Catwoman, because she's kind of hard to access from PvP packs, and some of the newer players weren't around.
She's not there anymore.
Right. So even before when she was there, she wasn't that easy to get because she was a rare character, right? But for the newer players who didn't have a chance to access her during her PvP cycles or whenever she was in shops, it's not that great for them. So it probably would have been better to put her week after her PvP week, right? And so they should have just switched those two around, because Robin was quite accessible in the last couple of months because he was a board clear reward. He was, I can't remember where else he was. He was probably in Red Alerts or something like
Robin's
that.
Robin's been in PvP packs.
Yeah, he's been around. He's been around
as a common, I think.
Yeah. He's been accessible.
Yeah, he's been way more accessible.
So they should have definitely just made this week Robin and the last week Catwoman. But whatever. It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
It's neither here nor there, so...
Oh, well. Okay, well...
I mean, you're not going to really have much more availability regardless of when they do it. They're going to release the shop pack and everything else the same as they would.
Yeah.
If you don't have them, you don't have them, and you can't do anything about it. So,
yeah.
But anyway, we've spent enough time on that jabbering. We got about 15, 20 minutes left of the show. DP, go ahead and take it from here.
So, we're getting into the shop talk part of the show, and as I said last month, it seems that they're consistently sticking to this $25 pack for 25 shards of each of the new month's characters. So I would expect March to be the same. They probably start the month off at the beginning, the first of the month, with all 4 characters in one pack for the same price. So if you're into all 4 of the new characters, then it's probably something to consider. The next thing that's keeping consistent is the fact that they're using the Alliance missions characters for the following day as a way to release character packs for the previous day, so that you can set up your Alliance mission teams, so to speak. So that seems to be pretty consistent. But the big change to the shop was it this week? Yeah, it was this week. Was the Justice League and Steppenwolf packs for the Justice League movie release. So if you guys didn't see...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was 5 $10 packs and one $30 pack. There were one $10 pack for each of the Justice League characters. So Superman, Wonder Woman, Defender of Justice, Batman TDK, Flash, Cyborg, and Aquamoa. And each of their packs offered 5,000 gems, 50 of the shards of each character, of those characters, and some swag depending on which character it was. So it ranged from green essence to life rings to PvP, PvE energy, and so on and so forth. That was great value. The Steppenwolf pack was also great value. It's mathematically the same, except 3 times more expensive. So it was $30 for about 150,000 gems, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 150,000 gems.
It was 150,000. It was, what was it? 150 shards of Steppenwolf, and
15,000 gems. Sorry, 50. No, I went.
Yeah,
15,000.
No, it was 10,000 gems.
150,000. What a deal!
10,000 gems.
Yeah, sorry.
It was 10,000 gems.
Too many zeros there. Yeah.
It was 10,000 gems.
Yeah. But overall,
150 Steppenwolf, 10,000 gems, and 7,000 legendary essence.
yeah. So overall, the packs
Anyway.
were equivalent to one another, depending on how you value the swag. So just if you count the swag as sort of a throw-in, then the packs were equivalent to one another. I think that personally, for a new player, these packs were really, really, really good deals. So if you're looking to just, rank up Cyborg or Flash really quickly, this is a great way to do it. Getting access to hard to farm characters like Superman, Wonder Woman of the Defender of Justice, and Batman TDK was also a great option. And Steppenwolf, Steppenwolf was one of the best characters in the game, in my opinion. So his pack was probably, in my opinion, probably the best value, not in pound for pound, in terms of the character itself, the character shard value, and the rest of the monetary value. So that was great.
You know what? Also, I could definitely see them maybe doing it as a monthly thing. Like, say, I don't know, next month they're like, oh, the Teen Titans, you can get like Robin and Cyborg and Raven and all those guys. And then like the villain packs Deathstroke. That'd be pretty cool.
If they make it a consistent thing,
that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, if they make it a consistent thing where they release gem packs for movie releases and things like that, that would be awesome because it creates hype too. It creates hype for the movie. It creates hype for the game, and just it's all around positive for the company. So why not, right? Money in the bank. Yeah. Following following the 1.17.3 update, there were also some changes to Alliance packs and PvP packs. So, the long and short of it is that they basically shifted characters in and out of each packs, it seems. So, from the Alliance packs, the Wonder Woman Champion of the Air Amazons and Firestorm were removed, but Champion of the Amazon was put into PvP packs as a common. Firestorm, unfortunately, he's sort of MIA for the foreseeable future. Hopefully, he comes back somewhere. Cheetah, and Raven and Wonder Woman Defender of Justice were added. Sorry, Cheetah and Raven were added to the Alliance packs as commons. Defender of Justice, Wonder Woman, and Dr. Fate were added in as rare for the Alliance packs. So that's good that they replaced one Wonder Woman with a different Wonder Woman, and actually arguably one of the better Wonder Womans, but they're still both accessible somewhere in the game. That being said, because Cheetah and Raven were added to the Alliance packs, they were removed from PvP packs. And I don't understand why they removed Cyborg when they just put him back in like the month before. Like, either you're going to put him in or keep him out. You know what I mean? So why put him in and then take him out right away?
I think they're just trying to figure out what to do with that slot.
Yeah, I don't think we need Cyborg anymore. Just leave him out of there. He's farmable. Just leave him be, right? So, same goes for Cheetah. But I mean, I guess if you're going to move him from one place to another, it doesn't really make a difference. Blue Beetle and Siren were added in to the PvP packs as uncommon and rare, respectively. Blue Beetle, I'm sort of mixed on because I don't really like him as a character, but maybe he'll get a rework and he'll be awesome. But who knows? But he was one of those characters that if you're a new player, same with Siren, you didn't really have a good opportunity to farm when their hero challenges were around. So it's a good way to pick up the shards. So that's good. But let's get on to what everyone's here for. The Community Watchtower, aka Ogre Storytime. So, as you guys may have already heard, Ogre, at the beginning of this month, was invited to Warner Brother Games San Francisco, and he has a lot to talk about. So I'll pass it over to him.
All right, so I'm not really sure how much y'all want me to talk about. I did go over this in a Reddit post. DP, can we go ahead and try and link that in the description?
Yeah, I'll put it
if
somewhere.
possible.
Yep.
Okay. Just somewhere, so that people can find it, because
on YouTube and
there was a lot covered in that.
SoundCloud.
Yeah, there was a lot covered in that, and I don't want to take up too much time going over story time. I mean, I've said this a lot of times at this point between here and other locations.
But everyone needs to hear it again.
No, I know. I know. For those of you who don't know, I'll give you a quick synopsis. So I went down to San Francisco, took the BART down, got there a little early, about an hour early. They went ahead and took me back in then instead of making me wait in the reception, so that was really cool. Got to meet Stanner, She was really awesome. She introduced me to the rest of the team, various people behind the scenes, character designers, different people. You may have already seen some of the photos on our YouTube channel already. So yeah, those are some of the people I got to meet. What else happened? We had lunch with pizza and wings. While we were having lunch, they showed me a build of the game for testing where you could have multiple of the same character on a team. So one of the things we did was we took 8 penguins, 4 on each team, stuck them into a match, set all their HPs to 1, and then everybody exploded Henchy Penguin everywhere. And it was rather cute and hilarious. I then challenged one of the devs to put in an actual team and then make it face off against an AI-controlled camo team, 4 camos. And it was hilarious because the regular team using like Power Girl and Red Robin, a lot of the newer characters, and then 4 camos, the regular team took the turn, beat the crap out of some of the camos a little bit. None of them really got too low. They're all like around half health or so. The camos proceeded to take 8 turns because of the amount of bleeds and fallouts that they were capable of pulling off. And then the regular team lost like 3/4 of their health. One of the camos was down in the red finally. And then the camos went back and took another 8 turns each, put another bajillion bleeds and speed downs on them. And then each one of the regular characters finally started popping up to their regular turn again, and they just died to the like 800 bleeds that they had. It was rather hilarious.
So confirmed.
So,
Chemo is OP.
Camo OP.
Needs nerf. Needs nerf now.
But anyway, after that, they handed me a device with the March build on it, and they actually let me play with the March stuff. Don't ask me. I can't tell you. I did have to sign an NDA. It's coming soon, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about it later in the show.
Yeah. So in the podcast.
And then while I was there, we also recorded the official podcast while I was there.
Yeah.
So that was cool. It actually dropped, and it was really good too.
Yeah, you guys could check that out. It was pretty fun to listen to. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. And if you got like Ogre said, there's a couple of clips that are already on our YouTube channel. So if you guys want to check that out, that's cool. And if you have any questions for us or for Ogre, you can feel free to leave them in Reddit or wherever you get this podcast on SoundCloud or on YouTube or whatever. Okay, so let's get on to questions and answers from the community, DCL related. Yeah? Oh, yeah?
Sorry, if I may just hop in here real quick and
Sure.
spread something I've actually been waiting to inform people on. So, as it happens, at the end of March, a certain box will be going to California. Go figure, huh?
Ooh.
I know, right? And I may actually be dipping inside of the WB studios. Who knows? We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Interesting.
So if
You got to at least come say hi to me.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll stop by. You can drive me to WB Studios, and then I'll pay you in pizza.
Right. If that happens, then that means I have to take a plane to California. Is that what's happening now? Because
we're infiltrating.
It's a trip and a half for me. So
well,
yeah.
You see, the plan is that I'm gonna get on Ogre's shoulders, and we're gonna wear a gigantic trench coat and sneak in. If you're there, then we'll be too tall.
we could do like
he could just be the hunchback at this point.
Yeah, basically. Anyways, so that could be something that's happening. That's awesome. So hopefully we'll get more videos and photos and stuff if that happens too. So cool. Okie doke. So the next thing, as I said, let's go on to questions and answers from the community. I'll jump right into it. From Reddit, first of all, Parsnip's Paradigm asked, as we've been getting lots of physical and energy characters, or at least it feels like it anyways, who do you think would make a good brand new Mystic, and what do you think they'd bring to the game? So this is who you think would be a good fit for the Mystic type of character. It doesn't necessarily have to be a magical character or whatever. So what do you guys think? New Mystic character.
But that's what Mystic is.
Oh, I guess.
Mystic is magical or ancient artifact or something like that. Like, that's what Mystic is.
Is everyone magical or magic related as a Mystic? I'm trying to think.
I believe so.
Okay. Okay, well.
Because they recently retconned Blue Beetle to be an ancient artifact instead of an alien parasite.
Okay. Well then.
Right?
I stand corrected. All right, so magical characters. Go. Who do you want as a magical character in the game that's not already there?
The rest of Justice League Dark.
Okay,
that's where you're going to draw most of your. That's where you're going to draw most of your characters from. I mean, let's just be honest. That's where most of the magic comes from.
Okay. What about think about a bad guy? What if it's not a hero? What if it's someone bad?
That's true.
I'm thinking, right? If it's like, let's say it's a hero villain mix, just to speed things along, let's go ahead and name one of each for each one. Yeah. I'm thinking for a hero, Detective Chimp. And then for a villain, the Spectre.
Ooh.
I like that. Okay.
What about Mr. Mixlipic or whatever his name is?
Mitsispedelik. That was my pick. Yeah, he's my favorite.
He would be good.
He's my favorite anti-hero. He's not a villain, right? So he's
not really a hero or a villain. Yeah, he's just kind of an observer.
He's a douche. That's all he is. He's just a douche that picks on Superman.
You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of the green guy that used to torment the Flintstones.
The Great Kazoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, he reminds me of Great Kazoo.
But he's now whenever I see Mixospidlick, I always imagine the character from the Superman animated series and who was voiced by Gilbert Gottfried. So that was the best Mixospidlick I've ever seen. And I would if they put him in the game, he has to be really tiny, and if they give him like a move where he does something audible, he has to talk because it has to be Gilbert Gottfried's voice.
Oh my god, that would be awesome.
So, and he has to,
I would love to see. And
he has to have a move where, like, if he dies, he has to say his name backwards or something. He disappears.
Oh my gosh.
But I can imagine, because he's a fourth dimensional character, it probably has something to do with like freezing time or something like that. Like he could probably stun people or sort of a character. So I would imagine Mixospidlick being like sort of a pain in the butt mystic. So
I was thinking like a polymorph type thing, you know?
Yeah.
Where turns him into like, I don't know, a parrot.
Yeah. Because he can shapeshift into anything too. That would be cool.
So that would be a hero, I guess, or a villain, but what would be the other pick for you guys?
My other pick was, oh, darn it, what's his name? The sorcerer dude that Zatanna fights with.
Yeah, I know.
What's his name?
I don't remember.
What's his name?
He was in a movie too. It was him. And
he was in the Justice League Dark movie.
Yeah.
He was in the Justice League Dark movie. What was his name?
He knew her father too, Zatara, right?
Yeah. Like
I know what you're talking about.
They had a history together. It was I don't remember his name though. Doom, do you remember?
Does anyone in chat know?
Do you know who I'm talking
about? I have no clue.
Like I have the DVD sitting on my shelf, but he's not on the back of the stupid DVDs.
I know what you mean. I can't put his name. He was such but he was a villain, right? So he was a badass too. He was really, really powerful.
Yeah.
It was the movie where they had like Etrigan and Deadman and all of those guys, right?
Yeah, it was Justice League Dark.
Yeah.
It was released last February.
Right. Oh well, I can't remember. It's not that guy.
I don't remember his name.
That guy. Okay.
What was the stupid sorcerer's name?
Okay, you guys.
He would be cool though.
You guys talk about that while I Google it. What's his name? Justice League Dark.
Let's just move on to the next question then.
Okay. Let me see. What's the next question? Oh, so the next question comes from our newest Patreon patron, Ratbones. So, yay, new patron, yay.
Yay, patron.
So if you guys want to be cool like Ratbones, you can become a patron on our Patreon at patreon.com/theosman. You can have access to that for at least $1. So now, Ratbones asked on Patreon, what are your picks for top 10 tanks with comparisons and synergies? because there's a lot of tanks, well, not that many tanks, sorry. Because there's not that many tanks, we'll probably trim this down to a couple of each type. So
there's actually a good number of tanks, actually.
Okay. Well,
I think a lot of people.
Maybe we can do 10.
Oh my god!
So
Doom is not a tank.
Excuse me. He is very tanky. Thank you very much.
Nightwing is not a tank.
We about to fight. All right. So, okay. So what's the first category? What, physical tanks? I guess.
All right, physical tanks. We've got Solomon Grundy, Doomsday, Bane, Batman Dark Knight, Wonder Woman Princess Themyscira, Cyborg Superman, Ares, Swamp Thing, Deathstroke, Black Canary, Vixen, Lobo, Steppenwolf, and Clayface. Who are your top picks?
And we're doing like what, top 5, I guess?
Yeah, do top 3, 5, somewhere in there.
All right, so my picks for the top tanks, in terms of synergies, I definitely have to say Clayface is easily within my top 5. Bane is up there just because he is a complete monster. So is Princess Themyscira. I personally like Doomsday, but that's just more because I like his kit. And it's kind of hard to not say Cyborg Superman, considering he just doesn't die if you lose your blue. So,
right.
That's my picks. What do you think?
I'm a real big fan of Bane right now. The dude doesn't die. The dude can pack a hit pretty good. Bane is up there for me. Solomon Grundy is another one that I think is underrated by a lot of people, but he can take a lot of punishment, and when he gets enraged, his basic does some silly damage. And then I think my last one is probably Deathstroke or Princess of Themyscira. They're both just really, really good.
Yeah. Now for me, I have some personal preferences, and then I have all around like good picks for tanks. So for me, my personal preference is Superman, obviously, and then Green Lantern Hal Jordan, mainly just because these are characters I use a lot and I like them.
DP, those are the mixed tanks. We haven't even gotten there yet.
Oh, sorry. Are we talking only physical tanks? Okay, my bad. All right, sorry.
Yes, we're only talking physical tanks.
My bad. Okay, we'll get there. Physical tanks. All right, in terms of physical tanks, then probably the big culprits are Doomsday and Grundy for me. Doomsday and Grundy are characters that show up a lot in PvP. So those are characters that I'm scared of dealing or going against them without a bleeder. So if you don't have a bleeder, the match gets really long and drawn out. So yeah. The other one that I'd probably pick from this list of physical tanks is probably Cyborg Superman. Because Cyborg Superman is one of those characters that's just a pain to deal with because of his crit immunity. So, yeah.
Bleeds don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So again, it's one of those characters. And if you're not going into the fight with a bleeder, you kind of have to be ready for a very long fight. So,
yeah. Now, speaking of bleeders, Chemo is actually unique in his gear set. He is the only special tank in the game. So we're going to move on from there and just go to the mixed tank category, which consists of Aquaman, King of Atlantis, Aquaman, Rider of the King Tide, Bizarro, Superman, Shazam, Lex Luthor Assault Warsuit, Green Lantern Hal Jordan, and Penguin.
And Nightwing.
Of those, Nightwing is a striker. We'll get to that category in a second.
Okay.
Because there's arguably a few tanks in that category.
Right.
So, anyway, of those, who do you guys like?
Doom.
Oh, man. It's got to be Penguin, obviously. Penguin is just...
That was obvious.
Like, you look at him, and he doesn't look like much, and then he ends up shielding everyone for 100% out of nowhere, and it's just like, well, I guess I lost. Never mind. Lex
and the affinity
Luthor's...
resistance stacks so fast.
Oh, yeah, that too. Oh, my God. And freaking, what's his name? Lex Luthor Assault Warsuit is a monster, and I feel like he's underutilized. And I don't know. For my third, I guess I'll say Bizarro, just because I like the obscure characters.
Bizarro is a good character. He's got a good kit. He's just got not a lot of availability.
Yeah.
I think is his problem. For me personally, I agree with you. Assault Warsuit Lex is criminally underused. The dude does everything you could possibly want him to do. He is impossible to take down with his 2-turn damage immunity, and his shields and stamina ups just make it even harder. Aquaman, King of Atlantis, for me, he's one of my big characters that I use. He's incredibly fast and can pack a pretty good punch between his actual punch and the bleeds he applies. So, and then on top of that, he has a stun in his kit. So, and he offers crit immunity to your whole team. Like, you can't go wrong with him.
I don't know. Immunities are kind of a downside now with everyone being like, oh, if they have any immunities, steal it or purge it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But I still like him. I still love him a lot. And then finally, my
go ahead.
third pick, I think I would go with, Penguin. Penguin's he's really good.
I have to gear out Penguin. Well, I have all the shards for Penguin at L4, but he's currently sitting at rank 2.
Jeez.
I haven't touched him at all. Like 0. But we'll see when I get there. For me personally, though, from this list, I would my 3 probably be Superman, Green Lantern Hal Jordan, and Aquaman, King of Atlantis. These 3 are just characters that I use all the time. But the main thing that I like about the fact that not only that they're mixed tanks, but the utility is so good. And if you look at all these characters, majority of them are pretty good in terms of utility. They all do a lot of different things. So Aquaman, Ogre already went over, but Superman, for example, he has the heal immunity. He has the potential just to regenerate his HP real quick. He has an okay stun on his basic, and overall, and he has a taunt, so which fits well with his tankiness. And then Green Lantern Hal Jordan has a similar kit to Aquaman that also provides a stun, and Superman that provides a stun. He has purging, he has shielding, he has a call assist, and he does a lot of things. So I like all of them. And he randomly gains agility ups to get more tankiness. So, yeah. So on to the special categories.
All right, and there's one final thing about the categories here. These guys aren't tanks per se by their gear set. However, they simulate being a tank very well. Those are the characters like Medfill, Wonder Woman Defender of Justice,
Nightwing,
Harley Quinn,
Nightwing,
Power Girl, and apparently Nightwing.
Very much so, Nightwing.
So, and then you've also got characters like Arcus, who can, kind of pseudo tank up, and then John Stewart, who can tank up fairly decently. Those are your off category, if you ask me.
So, Doom, do you want to tell us about Nightwing?
I think he might.
Well, kind of. But actually, another one I wanted to bring up is Jessica Cruz and Supergirl as 2 other options to consider for kind of tanks.
I can see that. Supergirl is pretty tanky too.
I consider Supergirl more of a support because she actually supports the whole team by turning them into pseudo tanks.
That's true.
Yeah, but I'm thinking more in the way that they deter certain types of play that normally would be very rampant. Like Supergirl and Jessica Cruz both are like, oh, AoE crit? Nah, I don't think so. And in that way, I mean, they more or less fulfill what a tank is, but more passively, they stop a certain type of aggression. But
that's fair.
That's good.
Also, Jessica Cruz gets so much shield. Like she's actually, I think, a tank. But Supergirl, I could understand, maybe not so much though. But Nightwing. So gains 85% additional defense and resistance when he has evasion or invisibility. Which, let's be honest, when doesn't he? And then on top of that, despite what you said, Ogre, his defenses and resistances actually happen to be pretty decent. They're like, I forget, like 0.7 something, 0.8 something, maybe exactly 0.9 something.
Hold on. Defense is 1.27, resistance 1.17 at gear 11.
And then you add an extra like 0.9 onto both of those because...
Okay, but here's just to show you why. The physical tanks have a 2.69 defense.
Yeah, and a 1.11 resistance.
Yeah, still. They're
Nightwing
physical.
has like 2 point something in both.
That's fair. Only Chemo can compare to that.
Also, he gets tons of evasions, which means he's basically either immune to damage or he's not taking... I gotta watch my language for damage. I almost said it. Oof.
Okay.
So,
Nightwing has
that's my bit into it, though.
Tanky-ish. Cool. For my pick, though, like, from this list, the only one character that really stands out to me is Defender of Justice. Like, Wonder Woman Defender of Justice is one of those characters, when you see her as a lead, you're kind of like, probably have to take her out real quick, or else she's just going to keep, like, if you hit her a little bit and she keeps regenerating all her HP, it just gets out of control real fast. So you have to probably focus her down as fast as possible, most of the time. Or do the opposite, leave her to last because she'll just keep taunting anyways. Or keep regenerating her HP.
Or just stun her.
That's true. Like, if she's stunned, she can't taunt. So...
Yep.
But yeah, she's one of those characters that gives you a headache, and especially when you feel like, I guess it's observation bias, but when you feel like you're playing against her, she's taunting all the time when it's only 50%, but it is everything.
See, I never have a problem with her.
I don't know. I always
Yeah, me neither.
I personally look for her.
Whenever I play her, I don't get as many taunts. I get maybe like under 50% most of the time, I feel.
See, I don't play her, so I don't...
Yeah. I play with her a lot, so but when I play against her, I feel like every turn my character has to hit her. So
yeah, she does have times where she does. I will admit that.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it though because she heals herself and I stack 4 blades on her and it goes away.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the way I figure is like, oh man, she's constantly healing. I guess I'll stack my Doomsday up to 200 strength, stamina, and agility real quick. Pardon me.
Okay. So
oh no, she hit him for 7,000. So I healed for 14.
So in terms of this question, I think we pretty much covered most of the bases there. So I think in terms of comparisons and synergies, do you think that there's any tanks that really stand out that they work well together?
Ares and Grundy work really well together.
Oh yeah, I've come across that. It's a pain.
Chemo and Aquaman.
Oh yeah.
Chemo and Aquaman is another one that I use all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cyborg Superman and Superman. Kind of.
Yeah, they work fairly well together in concert.
Yep.
Clayface and Doomsday.
Yep.
Clayface and Doomsday.
Definitely.
Clayface and Assault Warsuit Lex.
Yep. Well, there's a good list.
There's a pretty good list.
Yeah.
So
I
think the tanks in general work well just with anybody for the most part. They do their job.
Also, to answer the question that you had, Ogre, from the last question about who that character was from the Justice League Dark, it was Felix Faust. That was his name.
I knew it.
Faust was the character. Okay, so that brings us to the end, I guess. Actually, I'll turn it over to.
If you're listening to the YouTube version or the SoundCloud version, we are putting this out a little bit late. So those of you listening live, sorry, there is something that we couldn't cover today. But we did record, and it will be on the podcast when it is released.
But, if you were to maybe sign up for our Patreon, slide us a 20 under the table, we can see what we can do.
So,
to be fair, just as a disclaimer, by the time the paperwork clears, they're going to know anyway.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, though, even though we're trying to be cryptic, we'll add in an extra part at the end of this part of the Game Talk section, only on the podcast version, not on the live version. You guys won't hear it right now.
And now, the part you've all been waiting for. I'm going to go ahead and reveal the March characters that are going to be released. First up, the Hero Challenge character, where you're going to have the chance to earn 1,100 fragments of login bonus and everything. The Demon Etrigan.
Oh my god.
I knew it.
Etrigan.
I already know people are expecting a poetic insight too, so I'm already prepared.
So that means Etrigan and his best friend?
His best friend, Constantine.
Yeah, I knew it.
Snap.
You lied to me. I guessed it. You said no.
I didn't say no. I said I can't say.
That's true. I was thinking Martian Hunters.
Now, hold on. The reworks. Swamp Thing and Jessica Cruz.
I see. And that's what you said. March is going to be green.
I mean,
there's actually a bonus factor here.
Oh.
March is also going to include a special event for alliances where you will have an opportunity to earn fragments of Martian Manhunter.
Oh, sick!
Oh wait, crap! I'm not in an alliance. No.
You can always just join someone else's.
I'm pretty sure I saw BA at 29.
Yeah, and I think LOD is still recruiting. I'm sure.
Yeah, they have like 4 slots open or something, I think.
Anyways,
time for the Return of Doom.
So, you said Martian Manhunter is the bonus character for this new Alliance mission thing. Can you explain that?
I really wish I had more to give, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
I don't know exactly what the event is. I just know that it's through the alliances. That's how you're going to earn the fragments.
Okay, that's cool. So, interesting. Maybe what I'm guessing is then, if we're just speculating on it, is instead of maybe, or in addition to Alliance points, Alliance essence that you gain through the points you earn per day, maybe on top of that, based on your, personal missions or Alliance missions, you unlock a certain number of shards of Martian Manhunter. So you get like Alliance essence plus some number of Martian Manhunter shards.
You see, I was thinking that it was probably going to be because I'm pretty sure this one's going to favor the big alliances, right? So in that case, maybe it's like your maximum participation award instead of it being more becomes fragments.
Interesting.
So like if you hit the cap for every day that you're putting in effort, then you can pick up some of those shards for your troubles. Or at least that's what I would think.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not really sure.
Well, we'll see what in a couple of weeks though. But it's definitely huge news. The one downside I could see to that though is that it really forces players who are not really active, I guess, or probably not in an alliance even, to actually have to go out of the way to get there. So they have to really change the way they play the game, right? Which could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you look at it. But
well, I mean, if you look at it in a way that it's encouraging people to get to know their community,
I mean, it could also be a way that WB is trying to consolidate all of those very small, like 3-4 people alliances into bigger and bigger chunks.
Yeah.
That's another thing too, yeah. Since this is all one server.
Yeah, that's true.
So Etrigan and Constantine, huh? Jeez.
Yep.
The one thing I hope for Martian Manhunter, though, is that he's not just completely locked behind Alliance mission type of access, or else that could be a big problem for people later on. Like, what if he never just becomes accessible later, right? So I assume it's probably.
I'm sure he will be.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm with as popular as Martian Manhunter is, there's no way they're going to be able to just lock him behind alliances forever.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically just free money. Like, come on.
They probably will throw out make him sort of, in addition to the fact that you can access him through alliance missions, you could probably also make him a paywall character so you can buy him too. So I'd assume they'd probably do something like that too, because why not, right? That's
probably.
So,
Martian Manhunter. I mean, come on.
Cool. So about the Swamp Thing reworks and Jessica Cruz reworks, I'm pretty happy that I picked up a bunch of those Jessica Cruz shards when I had the chance to. I think
now you're all of a sudden happy you have an L3 Jessica Cruz sitting there.
During Christmas time, I think it was when she was paired with the bonus reverse flash shards. So I was just like, I need a little bit more reverse flash shards, and Jessica Cruz was like the 850 pack. So I was like, okay, well, whatever. Let's just buy a bunch of Jessica Cruz shards.
You see, they said I was crazy for buying the Jessica Cruz pack when it came out, but who's laughing now?
That pack was really insane, though, in terms of pricing and value. It was not worth the price, though. It was like $100 for like 100 shards or something like that, right?
Yeah, it wasn't worth it at all, but now it is, hopefully.
Well, let's she's well worth it.
So, one of the implications this also kind of leans towards is that I'm guessing that she's going to rotate out of PvP packs.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. So that's something we'll bring up. Actually, that's something we by this time. This is something that we've actually brought up already in the shop packs about the changes to Alliance.
Potential rework or changes. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Anyways.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to our podcast where we were suggesting reworks for Swamp Thing. Make sure they didn't steal our ideas.
So, in terms of the characters, then we'll have. I'm guessing Constantine and I guess Constantine's gonna be Mystic, but Etrigan, he could be an Energy, I guess, right? Do we know?
He's a Mystic.
They're both Mystics.
Yeah, Constantine and Etrigan are both Mystics.
Okay.
I was going to say, Etrigan's a mythical demon. How could he be anything else that's not mystic?
That's true.
Seriously. and Martian Manhunter is Energy.
Yeah, all the aliens are Energy. All the Superman family is all Energy based. I mean, they said that's on their last podcast too, right? So. Yeah,
Super Fam is Energy.
And Flash Fam is basically all Energy too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Well, definitely excited for that.
Yeah, so the only thing I can really reveal, I don't want to give away their movesets or anything like that, but Etrigan is super tanky.
Ooh.
Super tanky Mystic.
Cool.
And Constantine is kind of a team support.
So are we going to say like Red Robin level or like midfield level, something like that?
I'll talk to you guys about more of that off air, but I don't want to give away too much right now.
Okay, sure.
Right. Well, I mean, time's winding down anyway.
By the time this has been, posted, they'll have revealed some stuff. So
okay, well, we'll see. We'll see what comes up so that we're not. We
might have to do like an emergency record session on like Tuesday night or something.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, all right. Well, let's wrap that up there then. Cool. Thanks.
All right. Cool. Thanks for listening, guys.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Bye now.
So obviously we're at the end of game talk here now for the episode. We want to thank everybody for listening live. We want to thank everybody that listens to us on any of our social media, it'd be it SoundCloud or YouTube or whatever. We thank you guys. We want to give a special thanks to Rat Bones for being our first patron. And I think that's all I got.
Technically not our first patron. Right?
He's our second or third now. But
our newest patron. Sorry. Newest patron.
So if you guys want to be cool like him, join us on Patreon.
Yeah. I mean, that basically sums up everything I want to say.
Okay, cool. So I'll just plug in our social media stuff again. So if you guys haven't already, follow us on Twitter and Facebook and SoundCloud at The Oddsman. Our YouTube channel is at youtube.com/c/TheOddsman. And if you want to support this podcast and you like what we're doing, you can join us on Patreon at patreon.com/TheOddsman. And you can become a patron for a minimum of $1. So with that, another announcement, the last minute announcement for our March episode 7. We're currently in talks with him, but we should be able to have Fanatic Jalapeno on the show.
Who's that?
Right.
So for all of you, unlike Doom, you will know him from YouTube. He's probably one of the OG YouTubers for DCL. There you go. So with that, I'll wrap things up and play the outro music.
Thanks, guys. Hey, guys, this is Seth Rogen. I wanted to give a huge shout out and thanks to everyone for listening. Catch us when we go live on Discord and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and SoundCloud at The Oddsman. Feel free to check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/TheOddsman for a variety of opportunities to help us grow and provide better content. Thanks again for your continued support, and as always, enjoy and grind on.